what we're going to go ahead and be learning is how to get that power into that punch right there. One of the things that they're going to go ahead and we'll start out with, basically, you can go ahead and follow along with me, like I said, is basically from here, from fighting stance in this way over here. What we're going to go ahead and do is start off by pushing with the heel. With the heel, we're going to go ahead and use the heel to push me forward a little bit, and that's going to go ahead and it's one of the things that you're going to be using along with the other ones that I'm about to share with you on getting more power into your punch, basically, for street defense. So let's follow along. We're going to go ahead and do 7. I want you to go ahead and do like a fighting stance over here. Hands are up, alrighty? And from the heel, just go ahead and push up. You're going to go maybe go about maybe half an inch and just to push off with the heel. So let's go ahead and do 1. Ready? Do 7 of those. Ready? Push up the heel and H, knee, san, chi, go, roku, kichi, hachi. All right? I think I might have done more than 7. That's okay. All right? The next part that we're going to go ahead and be working on basically is using the muscles from your hip muscles to your knee and the muscles from your knee down to your ankle. You're going to go ahead and work with those legs as pushing for that power, adding power to your punches. All right, ready? And we're going to go ahead and from now for this movement over here, we'll do 7. And we're going to go ahead and be pushing with the muscles and what do you call it? Muscles from the hip down to the knee and the knee down to your ankle. So we're going to go ahead and do ready and 1, pushing. 2, push. 3, push. 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, very good. So we got the heel exercise. We got the muscles of the leg exercise. Now we're going to go ahead and do is when I go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put power into a punch like that, I want to go ahead and put my weight behind that punch. So basically is I weigh like about 160 pounds, and when I go ahead, sometimes 170 when I have too many cookies, too many days in a row. But anyways, what we're going to go ahead and do is, what I do is when I go ahead and I'm going to do a punch, and basically, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a block, let's say, blocking my hand here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit somebody's ribs. I'm aiming to go past those ribs to break the floating rib or the rib above it or whatever rib above that. Basically, I'm going to go break those ribs and go through those ribs. And this is how I do it. I go ahead and add also my body weight. So what I want you to do is basically with your body up in here, push off the back foot and using your body weight. All right? Ready? Let's do it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have our weight behind there. When we go ahead and throw that punch through the ribs. All right. Next is the next part we're going to go ahead and be using is our hip. For our hip, basically, we got the heel, we got the muscles. We're doing the hip now. And this is by the hip. It's also where you can go ahead and like put your hip into it and move. So now we got our body weight. Now we're going to add the hip to it. Ready? And just using the hip. Count of 7. Fighting stance. Hands are up. Put the hip. Turn that hip in there. Here. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the hip. Good. The next one, we're going to be adding, we got the hip. Now we're going to go ahead and add the shoulder. Shoulder is very important. So you better put the shoulder in there. There's a MMA fighter, McGregor. On his last fight that he had, I don't really know the boxer. I think it was Cerrone or something, or Cowboy or something. Anyways, on the fight that he had last, what he did is, when people saw it for the first time, they saw a roundhouse kick that McGregor threw to this cowboy's head. And after it hit his head, when he went down is basically when McGregor came in there and started hammering him. He was on the floor. But what took him down to that floor, even before that, is he already had broken his nose practically. The way he did it basically is when he went ahead and clinched with him, he was pulling his opponent that wants to come forward, and he was helping him come forward, and at the same time he was helping him, he was like putting that shoulder right into his nose. He did that 4 times. By the time the fight started, this cowboy already had his nose broken from the shoulder that McGregor put into his nose. So that's how much power you can go ahead and get from the shoulder itself. Bust somebody's nose without even raising your hand. That's pretty good. Somebody's really good also at putting all this together, even though he's a boxer, Manny Pacquiao. He's excellent at putting all this together, and what he does is with all this, people think that he can only reach this far, but when he applies all his muscles, his legs, his hip, his shoulder, he gets another 6 inches or more of reach. So he's hitting these guys as they're backing up, they think they're clear, and they're still getting clobbered. So Manny is also a great example of how he uses all this combination of strategies together. All right, so for this one over here, we're gonna go ahead and then, now it's the shoulder. So we're gonna go ahead and put the shoulder like in there, like that. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The shoulder. Right in there. I know. Put that shoulder in there. There. All right. So, heel, leg muscles, my body weight, right in there. All this is coming for that one punch. I'm going to go ahead and bust his ribs. All righty. The shoulder. We said the hip already, and the weight. Next is going through. When I was with Sensei Bill, basically he would take me to do a little demonstration sometimes, and I think I was like 14 years old, and sometimes it was not an event where he can prepare a demonstration like for a weekend. We would go ahead and go on a Tuesday night to a school, elementary school, and basically one time, you know, he would have me he would attack, I would do the wazas, and he would come in, I would do the judo throws and sorogari and different things like that. I looked like the champion for sure. But one day, it was the Boy Scouts, and Sensei Bill didn't tell me anything. And all of a sudden, we're doing the demonstration, he goes into his bag, and he comes back with these 2 boards. You know, I don't know the measurement, maybe 12 inch by 12 inch, whatever the measurement is. So he puts the board like that, he says step back and punch the board. So here I go to go ahead and punch the board, and I go ahead and like, all right, I'm like, oh man. I was like, of course, I just didn't show that to all the Boy Scouts. I was like, oh. So he says, punch the boards. So I go back in there again, everybody's watching, it's quiet, and I'm like, ooh, you know, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I go ahead and I go for the boards again, and like, oh, yeah. And then they tell me, Gary, don't hit the boards, hit past the boards. So that's what I did. Those boards, in my mind, were about 6 inches back. So I was basically hitting not the board, I was trying to hit Sensei Bill's chest, basically. So when I did that, and I went ahead and did the punch, wham, this board snapped, man, I feel great to hear that. That was a good feeling, you know. So good memory as well too. And it was good for the coach that was watching there and taking pictures of us, so that was good too. So basically, when you're gonna go ahead and do a strike and a punch here, like I said, 1, 2, with your body weight, the whole thing, everything I explained, you're not hitting the ribs, you're going 6 inches behind that. So I'm hitting basically for the person's back. That's the ribs are for me. So that's what I'm hitting for. The next one. So We got the boards. The next is breathing. I see so many athletes, so many students. Sometimes when I get the chance, I got very little time, but when I get a chance like that, I'll go ahead and take a look at some of the students that where they're practicing, and they do some good moves, and they go some good, what do you call it, karate kicks and all that kind of stuff, and punches and the whole thing. But the majority don't know how to breathe, and breathing is very powerful. There's a boxer, what do you call it? Well, I spotted him like maybe a few years back, and basically like that. I mean, he got, damaged by Manny Pacquiao, but this boxer's name is Daniel Thurman. And one of the things that I liked about the way he would go ahead and when he would fight is he had his breathing. He would that breathing, you know what I'm saying? So breathing is very important. Basically, when you're gonna go ahead and do your block, you're gonna go ahead and when you do your strike, your breath is power too. So you're gonna go ahead and use your breath in there. One of the ways that I learned how to breathe, while practicing the wazas, but basically it's jogging. When I would go ahead and I go jogging like that, I didn't have MP3, or I don't have like sometimes my Android or cell phone or these earphones, whatever, anything like that. So I imagine basically I'm just kind of making music with my breath. I'm like, I'm just, it's hard to explain it. You just end up like when you do it and you start to do it, all of a sudden it comes to you like that, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, you start becoming aware of your breath, and your breath is power as well. So that's another thing to remember. Next one is basically, like I said, I'm over here against the wall. Somebody's going to go ahead and grab and try to reach for me. Here, I'm not going to wait till they reach. Somebody's going to go ahead and try to grab me for the throat. Here, somebody's going to go ahead and try to hit me, in the chest. Whatever it be. My strategy is if somebody wants to go ahead and go that way, my strategy, of course, is like, here, let me help you. And I'll go ahead and stand up that way. Basically, you can do that with a wall, or, of course, step to the side. You put your foot on there, and they're going to go into flying, with the foot sweep right there, okay? That's a whole different class like that. We'll do the sweeps, and then some of the judo movements, all that, and the aikido, whatever we want to go ahead and learn later on. So, but when you're going to go ahead and do this, we're going to practice a little bit here. Waza 1 is all we're doing because we're focusing on the punch, on power, using what you have on you. This is before going ahead and you don't have to go ahead and hit the board and stuff and make huge calluses on your knuckles to do this like that. It's all good and all that, and I wouldn't want to get hit some of those calluses, but I'm saying is you don't have to deform your hands in order to go ahead and defend yourself, to do a strike. Basically, you know what? Sure, when I was a kid, I did the rice, my fingers into the rice and then punching it. And then I would go ahead and I would put light gloves and I would hit the trees and stuff like that. And it would make my wrist muscle strong. And sure, you get numb up some of those knuckles in there from so many strikes and like that. So like these little shins from one tie or other like that. You kick so many times with your shin that it gets numb, and then it doesn't matter because you use the shin also as a strike. You can use your shin as a strike, your knee as a strike. On the kicks, but we'll more into that on the videos to come. So, what we're going to go ahead and do now is basically, it's called the whip. This is what I call it. Basically a whip, it goes very fast out there, it snaps back, and it comes back. You can't even see that whip. You can hear it. By the time you hear it though, that whip is already back. Alright? So this is what we're going to go ahead and do right now for for practice right here. That's one of the additional strategies that all this is going to come together. You're going to do this all together. And you gradually learn, or if you already know and you keep on doing this, it only makes you better. Okay? So this one is basically, that's just like a speed punch. Just throw your hand out there. What I want you to do is basically throw that hand relaxed, whip, and then relax back. I'm not going to do it too fast because sometimes I used to do some of this, even some of the katas, something like that, and then people couldn't see what I was doing because they couldn't capture, you know what I'm saying, by going too fast. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go fast, but not to the full extent so that you can kind of understand what I'm trying to say over here. My mother used to go ahead and use her fingers. Probably a lot of grandmothers or Latinos, like they know, when she would relax her fingers and she would make these fingers snap. Something like that. Yeah. And it's the way that those fingers are snapping right there, basically, is the same idea for this practice we're going to go ahead and do right now. And it's basically, it's just whip it out there, whip it back. Ready? And what? There you go. Relax, 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 and just whip it back. Relax, relax, relax. Just back. Ready? Let's do it. Ready? And 7. And 1, 8, 8, 1, 8, 8. Okay, and I think that's about 7 right there. So we did that. Now the next one is basically on the moment that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that contact, the moment I'm going to hit those ribs with my knuckles, okay, at the moment I'm like loose, move out of the way, and then when I'm going to go ahead and do that strike, at that moment, we're using everything that we learned already like that, at the same time, I'm going to tighten up my muscles. Just put it in my full power of the muscle. Just get like, get strong and contract at that half a second or so. All right. So here's what we do. What I'm going to do is basically, you're going to go ahead and this. I'm going to want you to go ahead and not even throw the punch yet, but just go ahead and tighten up the body. Tighten it and then relax. Right. You tighten it up and then relax. Okay. My grandmaster, Sensei Ryu, he basically would go ahead and do, sometimes we would have to go ahead and do dynamic. One of the basic dynamic moves was one of them was the, in the kata, sometimes you do the flower, you would have us do dynamic, or you would go ahead and have us be on a horse, or in a, forward stand, that's what it's called, I'm basically talking freestyle because I know it, you might not know, but I have a lot of memory problems, but I'm just talking from the gut basically and just sharing this with you, and I hope this helps you. But basically, he would go ahead and have us do dynamic, tighten it up like that. And he would go ahead and come with a stick, and he would hit us on the legs, here, in the stomach, this leg, in our back, on the arm, with a bamboo stick, and he would just bam, bam, just hitting us with the stick right there. And basically during that dynamic, when you tighten up like that, you don't feel anything, nothing moves you. You're like, you're into that moment of the dynamic, the power. So the same idea applies. There is that dynamic. So this is, we're going to go ahead and do 7. All right, ready? And, ready? Tighten it up, ready? 1, you go ahead here, and tighten up, and just hold it, ready? So we're set, ready? And relax. And relax. And relax. And relax. Throw the punch out, just shortly, tighten it up, and just hold it, ready? And relax. And relax. And relax. So, now we have that dynamic. This time, we're going to use the dynamic again. But, at the moment of the contact, again, that dynamic, we're going to use our facial muscle as well. Alrighty? So, when you tighten this up right here, I want you to go ahead and do dynamic even with your facial muscles, with your neck muscles, with your buttocks. You just tighten it up, okay? And that's what you're going to use as power too. So, ready? We're going to do the facial. Okay? 1, and relax. 2, and relax. It's not very pretty, but that's part of it, alrighty? So, it might not look real good in the mirror when you do this, but this is part of the training. Ready, and relax. Relax. Now, what do we have covered already? We got the heel, we got the muscles from the knee down to the ankle, the muscles from here. We got the shoulder, we got the hip, we got the body weight in it, 170 pounds. Whatever you weigh like that, you're putting that into your punch. Then, I said the shoulder, the dynamic, the breathing. One of the most important things is basically using your energy. When you do that punch, when you practice from now on, when you do your waza, do waza 1, do it like 10 times. Just go ahead and do like the block and the punch, and then do 10 of those. Then you can go ahead and add the elbow and the sweep afterwards. You know, it's 1, 2 movements, 2 movements for all that. And gradually you just do one move, which is one circle, knocking the person down too. And on this one here is basically from your chi, from your energy. And I also call it life, basically. But when you're going to go ahead and punch through those ribs, like breaking those boards, hitting Sensei Bill's chest, not to hurt him, but it's basically, well, that's what he was teaching me. Going through that. He said, Gary, you're on the street, that's what you do. So, for this one here, when you go ahead and do your punch, you're going to go ahead and put your life, your energy into it, right there with the chi. And this is that strike you're going to go ahead and do. One of the strikes that we have right here, like I said, you don't do this for boxing when you turn the hand and you twist on the moment of contact. For boxing, it's not, basically it's a different style. I'm not a boxer, I'm not an MMA fighter. I'm teaching basically like street defense and how to practice your waza 1 correctly. Because if you master waza 1 with these strategies, you're going to discover a little bit more on your own. And that's where the learning begins as well. So for the chi, it's basically when I'm going to go ahead, you're going to do the punch. Let me share with you. You're here, you got your energy. You pick up your energy and you go ahead and throw that punch. We're going to go ahead and hit, but as making the contact, doing a twist, like a torpedo, like a drill right in there. If you just hit this way like this, it's going to go ahead, the energy of the impact is going to go in there, but it's going to split up. But when you do the twist on there, with everything that I showed you, it's going to go ahead and just go right through those ribs. And that's the initial movement of how to go ahead and defend yourself. So, we're going to go ahead and do right now. We're going to go ahead and do 7. And basically, what I want you to do is, we're going to go ahead and do the block and the punch. We're going to go ahead and do 7. You don't have to rush into it. You know, there's a lot to learn right there. There's a lot to practice right there. Break it up in small sections, just like I showed you right now. Do it, 10, set of 7, 3 times each. The knees, the heel, everything I showed. And then basically, after you've done those like that, then you can go ahead and do 7 basically here. So like I said here, we're going to go ahead and do it slow. 1, the punch.